Hey everybody, welcome to Ezekiel's Army. Back to do another short video. Just wanted to touch base with a few things, some observations, a few footnotes for prepping, along with some precious metals information and various other tidbits. But don't know if anybody joined us that's on here today. Join me for my live feed on Sunday evening. I do a live feed every Sunday evening at 8 o'clock and would welcome all of you to join us. Subscribe to the channel would be fantastic. But we're going to start out, this last weekend we saw gold prices drop almost $50 an ounce. Silver was down about 40 cents an ounce, with both rebounding as usual by this Monday morning. It's typical each weekend. It's a funny thing, folks. I was watching some Mark Dice videos, and there were several of them. You can find these on YouTube, and they're quite entertaining. But it shows just how uneducated people are and how inept the public school system is at educating people, and how effective they are at brainwashing people into this fallacy that this worthless petrodollar crap that they tout around as currency, which it is not, it is debt notes. We've talked about this before. But he's going around trying to sell a silver dollar, a solid silver dollar, for 99 cents. And the people looked at him like he had lost his mind. And then in another video, he was selling a 100-ounce bar of silver for $10, and people looked at him again like he had lost his mind. They wanted nothing to do with it. They just can't grasp the fact that this worthless fiat currency is not money. But as I was saying, gold was down almost $50 an ounce this weekend. I believe it's still down about $4 or $5 as we speak here Monday afternoon. And silver's rebound a little bit. It was down 40 cents, as I had said. And for people that are new to stacking precious metals, keep this in mind. This is not a time to be disappointed or depressed about your investment, because this is going to happen periodically. Stacking precious metals is a long-term investment plan. So to concern yourself with the inevitable periodic ups and downs of precious metals investment is to misinterpret the purpose. We've talked about the failing fiat petrodollar system and its inevitable demise, a currency system that is based entirely on faith as opposed to actual value. Its value since 1993 is only perceived, folks, and as long as a brainwashed and uneducated society is willing to play along and maintain faith in this economy of illusion-based currency, all is well, as long as everybody's willing to pretend and play along. But what happens when people no longer have faith in this current fiat system? Well, why don't we just take a look around? Because what you're seeing take place right now is exactly what we can expect. People are slowly but surely losing faith in our current currency system. At this point in the game, we could just as easily substitute rocks or sticks or anything else for money. The fact that we can still take worthless paper with pictures of dead presidents on it, along with coinage made of useless metals, and trade it for things that possess actual value, number one, is good, at least for the time being. It's good at least for those of us that recognize that our so-called money or currency is essentially worthless. Yet we can still trade it for useful things that actually have tangible and intrinsic value. And so we should be asking ourselves some really important questions. Some of the questions I believe should be asked is, how long is this illusion propagated by lack of education going to continue? Because sooner or later, and we can see it happening already, that people are slowly losing faith in this fiat American petrodollar. And another question, what is it that will finally bring this fiat currency system to an end? And when it does end, is it going to end abruptly, or will it come with a warning or a window of time to react? Most importantly, what is going to take its place in commerce? No matter what it is, It won't be dollars, and that's a guaranteed fact. So, as we find ourselves living in a world of more questions than answers, we can only theorize the many different ways that we may be able to survive in a world void of our current monetary system. With the advent of cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, and a huge menu of other currencies derived from blockchain technology, we can still uh, we still can at best only speculate as to the future of commerce in the future. If all currencies go digital, what level of control, and this is a really important question I'd like you to pay attention to, if all currencies go to digital, what level of control and authority will this give the gatekeepers of the internet? Now, you really need to think this through, folks. Remember, this is their sandbox, and they make all of the rules and hold all of the keys, including the keys to your future as free consumers. With the social justice virtue signaling attacks on everything from guns, ammo, red meat, the carbon footprint, meaning purchase of fossil fuels, one can only imagine the purchasing restrictions that could potentially be placed on your freedom to buy what it is that you want. In many of my prepping videos, I talked about redundancy in planning, that one is none and two is one. This rule applies not only to equipment, but it also applies to our plans for survival. None of us can know with any certainty what lies ahead. And so the goal, at least what the goal should be, is to plan for a list of possibilities and the many ways that we may survive each one. One thing I think we can all agree on with absolute certainty, and that is that we will all need to provide for the well-being of ourselves and our group, no matter how big or small, by whatever means necessary, while using as many tools as possible at our disposal. And that's kind of what this is about, folks, is arming ourselves, equipping ourselves with these many tools, creating as redundant a plan as possible for survival. And so I've kind of tried to compile, at least in part, a list of some of the things that I believe will allow us to, at least to some degree, be able to acquire our day-to-day necessities. Number one would be cash. And I believe that there will be a small window of opportunity to continue using cash. I think this time will be short. I think the window will be small, but it will exist. There will be, for those that refuse to accept that cash has become useless, they're going to not want to believe this. And so they're still going to want to accumulate some of this as some semblance of riches and continue to accept it in trade. The second one on the list is gold. And I know there's a lot of people that will argue that you can't eat it, and I couldn't agree more. I don't care how much gravy you put on a piece of gold, it's still going to taste like shit. But for those with ample supplies of food and other sought-after commodities, at least for the time being, they're going to believe that society will experience a rebirth and a return to biblical currency and accept gold in trade. And who knows how long this window will last. And number three is silver, and this will fall into the same category as gold. There are those who will have acquired, excuse me, enormous amounts of supplies of every kind, whether by hook or crook, maybe warehouses full even. They will have them. And so your ability to trade with these individuals, things like a can of soup or a pack of cigarettes for bullets or butt wipe, may not interest them at all. These, I believe, will be the types that will want hard assets like precious metals. Of all of the things that a person might want to invest their fiat currency in, alcohol is one that I think is worth stockpiling. Alcohol, I think, can be an excellent bartering tool. It can be used for medicinal purposes. Heck, you might even want to partake of a little bit to take off the edge of the stress and strain of a grid down situation. Its appeal will be multifaceted for a number of reasons, like I said, ranging from recreation to medicinal. Next on the list at number 5 is tobacco products. Some have said that quitting smoking is comparable to kicking heroin. I don't know if that's a fair comparison, though I have seen many attempt to quit their tobacco habit only to return to it. I believe that those unable to satisfy their tobacco addiction will be some of the most difficult people to deal with in a societal collapse and would be likely to trade most anything to satisfy that craving. Having this on hand for barter, I believe, is a sure bet. Number 6 on this list is medications. And there's a whole list of medications we could go through. This item is one that will not be optional for those that are in need. Whether it is for pain or infection, medication is a great investment for those that believe society is tipping ever closer to an inevitable collapse. You can go on sites like Chewy.com. Now, I don't know how many of you are familiar with this stuff, but this antibiotic right here, okay, this is fish mox. It's amoxicillin. The tablets inside this bottle for fish is identical to the ones you get from the pharmacy. I don't recommend doing this. I am not a doctor, nor am I a medical professional. I have never claimed to be, but I will tell you this. I have tried this stuff on myself. It does work. Folks, this stuff is identical. The same capsule, same color, same medicine. When you look at the ingredients inside of this, let me pull this up. Each capsule contains amoxicillin, period. That's it, amoxicillin. And you can get this in penicillin. You can any antibiotic made for human consumption, you can get in the form of a capsule. I don't know if this one's been opened or not. Nope, it hasn't, so I'm not going to open it. But regardless, I've opened these. It is identical, and I've compared them to the ones you get from the pharmacy. They are identical in number, color, size, milligrams of usage. And so this is another fine thing. We have things like just silly stuff. Alka-Seltzer Plus, things like this. I buy this stuff by the case, folks, and I warehouse this. This stuff is important to have. Things like regular over-the-counter pain medications. Every kind there is available. We were trying to find extra strength Excedrin, and it was unattainable. You couldn't find it on the shelves. And this is during times that this is nowhere near a societal collapse, and yet there are many, many things out there that we are having a difficult time getting, even today, as things sit. Number 7 on the list is hygiene, whether it is for the sake of vanity or health. Hygiene products will be in high demand, and I believe it is one of the weakest points of most prepper supplies. Things like soaps, deodorants, toothbrushes, toothpaste, and a slurry of products that many will have a difficult time doing without, and in many instances won't be able to live without. Combs, brushes, scissors, razors, Q-tips. This is just a small glimpse of the many things that most are going to need, and very few people think about stockpiling while you can still get your hands on these things. So hygiene is one of the what I think lacks most in a prepper's repertoire. And I think it's one of the most important because remember, during the Civil War, 2/3 of all individuals, all casualties during the Civil War were due to infection and disease. And so things like antibiotics and things of this nature are going to be imperative. Like I said, you can go to Chewy.com. I will, if I remember, to put a link in the box below, and we'll take it from there. So moving on. Number 8 is electricity. Things like batteries and chargers, especially solar chargers of any type, will most certainly be essential must-haves for both trade and personal use. I personally spend the extra money to purchase rechargeable batteries in every size, from AAA to D batteries, as well as the 9-volt, and I keep chargers on hand to accommodate the recharging process. If you look back at my videos, you can see the different methods I use for solar charging, solar generators, solar panels, and numerous other things of that nature. Regular batteries can be stockpiled for strictly trade purposes, while, like I said, I choose to utilize the rechargeable batteries. Number 9 on the list is food. Things like salt, sugar, syrup, bouillon, rice, and flour are all things that will be highly sought after, including things like coffee or tea, especially when you're talking instant. I know in coffee you can get the type of coffee that are in tea bags. You make a cup of coffee just like you would a cup of tea, and I like to keep lots of that on hand. People like me, I've got to have my cup of coffee in the morning. And so things of this nature are a must-have for both personal use and barter. We need to think outside the box, folks, and consider not just what it is that we may want or require, but also how the rest of the world lives as we put away supplies for potential bartering items. In this list of things to stockpile, look beyond this list or anybody else's list to an endless menu of items that will come in handy for a number of reasons. Items like Ziploc bags, trash bags, canning jars and canning lids in rings, and the list goes on. Even now, many of these items we've discussed here are difficult to gather. So imagine in the weeks that follow any kind of societal disruption and just how quickly the supply chain will grind to a halt, making common everyday items extremely difficult, if not impossible, to acquire. Remember, folks, redundancy is critical when it comes to making plans for survival. As always, I received some recent deliveries, and I'm going to take a minute or two, if you'd like to stick around and join me for this, to open them up and show you what it is that I invest in as a hedge against inflation and the devaluation of our petrodollar in order to preserve at least some of my wealth during these times of economic uncertainty. Now, I don't know how many of you have watched my videos in the past. I know a lot of you know I'm trying to currently put together an entire collection of George Washington quarters, and it's quite an undertaking. And so here we have, what do we got? Yep, this is my birth year, 1962, a Proof 67 star, which is a high grade George Washington quarter. And I hope this camera, I tried to readjust the camera so we can get some better shots. And it's going to fail me. Why does it always work? Oh, there we go. So you can see the beautiful condition these things are in. I think part of it's because I wiggle. But anyway, this thing is just blast white, beautiful proof condition coin. And so these are some of the things that I invest in, folks, and I strongly recommend that you do the research required and find yourself some way of preserving your wealth. This is a 1994 S Washington silver gem cameo proof, 90% silver coin. It's funny, before I do this video, this camera just zooms right in and everything focuses beautifully. Then you go to do a video and of course it doesn't want to. Yeah, I'll be buying a new camera. I'm not one to aggravate myself over and over again senselessly. So there's another edition. So folks, like I said, it's really important to think about exactly how it is that we live, how you live, and the types of things. I mean, I don't know how many of you out there can food. I know there was a huge problem getting canning jars this last fall. I can food every year. I grow my own food in my garden. So here's a 1960 Proof 67 star, even though it won't focus very well. You get the idea just how beautiful these coins are. There we go. I can't stress how important this is, folks. The fact that we couldn't get our hands on just average, everyday canning jars, canning lids, canning rings, should give us all a prime indication. This here's a 1916 S Mercury Dime. I saw this thing and absolutely fell in love with it. It's got what they call full split bands. This is MS68, which is a really nice high grade Mercury Dime. It's hard to believe that something from 1916 could be in this good a condition. Yeah, I'm going to smash this camera while I'm doing the video. There you go. Look at that thing. Just absolutely gorgeous. Like I said, it's just hard to believe that people had the wherewithal to preserve these things clear back then when a dime was actually a stinking dime. I mean, today nobody thinks nothing of a dime. You'd throw it off in the weeds for all you care. And one more, last but not least. We have a 1960 gem-proof Cameo George Washington quarter. Let's see if I can get this bad boy out of the wrapper. Folks, this is stuff that just doesn't happen overnight. Survival requires great planning and foresight. And so you can see, like I said, and this is just something I do, folks. Now, when it comes to stacking silver, I don't recommend that people get off into coins like this. You're going to be more along the lines of coins like this. These are just generic silver rounds. Nothing fancy. Just generic 1 ounce silver rounds. But you can pick these things up pretty reasonable. Even at the current prices, folks, silver is a steal for what it's selling for. I believe silver right now, let me pull it up while we're right here. I'm going to pull this screen up a little bit bigger, and it looks like silver is sitting at $26.82 is spot price right up here. Let me go over here. Yeah, so we have spot price right here at $26.82. Let's just jump over here and go to American Eagles and see what they're going for. We'll do view all products. Yeah, and as you can see, at 2021, 1 ounce American Silver Eagle, it looks like they're selling as low as $39.76, and that's if you buy like 1,500 plus. So the actual price, if you're buying 1 to 19 of them, is down here at $41.76 a piece for 1 ounce of silver. Now remember, folks, we were buying these things for anywhere from $8 to $14 an ounce back at the beginning of 2020. And look at the rise in price on this, which is why I say I truly believe that silver is the better investment and the bigger bang for your buck. And you can see this consistently. Gold has made some moves, but it's pretty large ups and downs, always settling right back where it started. Silver, on the other hand, stair steps up, drops down a little, stair steps up a little higher, drops down a little, and it's continually in an upward motion. And that's why I truly believe. So if you own enough silver, even minuscule changes up or down have huge effects on your overall collection. But again, I strongly, strongly recommend that you do something, whether it's buying constitutional, what they consider to be junk silver, or whether you educate yourself and start investing in things of this nature. Either way, do something to help preserve your wealth in one way, shape, or form, folks. So anyway, like always, I appreciate you viewing my video. If you like what you see, give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel. And while you're at it, swing on over to www.ezekielsarmy.com and subscribe there as well to my website. And we send out various pieces of news and information weekly, sometimes multiple times during the week. And you will get those automatically in your email. And we cannot be censored there. So we always have a place for truth. So if you can, if you like this video again, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate all of you, and like always, may God bless each and every one of you. Have a great day.